Hello, good morning, Vietnam. I've resisted saying that for a couple of days. The Robin Williams movie, Good Morning, Vietnam, played the character of the DJ who made some of the troops happy and perhaps made them also against the war. And happy people don't make good soldiers, maybe. But anyway, today I'm going to try to keep it shorter. Instead of look at the clock, I woke up at 4:11 this morning, so that's a bit late for me. I mentioned the very first video that it's very early this area. We're out in the outskirts of Hanoi, Vietnam, and there's a lot of people who get up. We're surrounded by flower fields and agriculture, so that's what people do. They get up very early. Anyway, today I wanted to stay focused on Living Artist, which is my application, which is going up on Google. Currently in the testing phase. If anybody out there wants to join the test, give me some feedback. Really happy. Send me your email address just in the comments, and I'll put my email address in the description today. My descriptions have been quite long, a bit like maybe was it Plato who said that Plato and Socrates, the laws should be short but the descriptions long, so that people know why they're supposed to be following one particular law or another. And I don't want to go into that. As I said, I want to stick to the Living Artist. One of the things I was asked recently was, what is my ultimate goal? And I will, I think the Tears for Fears song, 1980s, everybody wants to rule the world, and that includes me. I want to rule the world, and I want to do it through art. I think that art is the answer. Art is the, yes, it is. It's, some years ago I was here with Joe Duffy, a huge Irishman who resides in Australia. I think his business became human resources for companies that require skilled labor. He had been working on oil rigs and such, and but he's a tremendous sculptor. And yes, he's amazing, his work. But we had a long conversation one evening here in Hanoi when he was visiting. Must have been might be 10 years ago by now. And he was saying that he really thought that that was the answer to a lot of issues. If people have a background in art, they tend to be, in addition to being the stereotypical creative person, they're also very practical. If you know anything about working as an artist, and you're not from a wealthy background, and sorry if that theme comes up more than it maybe should. So no, he's jealous of rich people. And this isn't really true. And as I said, I'm trying to stick to the Living Artist, why I'm doing this application. But it's it's a genuine interest in making art a more important, maybe the most important thing in school curriculums. If people see that there are careers, and I'm not talking about, okay, this person is an artist, he's creative, so he can paint cars, or nothing against car painters, respect him tremendously. Very creative, so he can become a tattoo artist, right? I mean, do artwork. And one of the things that the example is behind me. This is a piece of work that hung at a restaurant here. There's actually it's a polyptych. There's 4 pieces to it, and the story behind it was I got a manager at the Marriott here. He's not here anymore. He's in a different hotel, but he had posted something that a photo that he had taken at my gallery after a visit there, and I thought it was great. He had photoshopped it into and I don't know if that's the app he used, by the way, but that became kind of a verb a while back, just like Googling and everything else. I don't know, can you Facebook? But this guy had put my piece of artwork in something. It was for promotion, and I was quite surprised, and I thought, wow, what happened there? And that's one of the reasons in the Living Artists, I really want to make sure that everyone knows who the people are. Someone suggested, oh, don't put their face, just put their artwork. Well, I think it's true that the artwork should represent them. And I think that they shouldn't have to run around like Banksy incognito, maybe his is for different reasons, being a graffiti artist of sorts. But anyway, this thing showed up, and I thought, well, you know what I think I'm going to do is it had been put on the ceiling of this restaurant, photoshopped onto there. And so I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go get 4 bamboo poles, and I'm going to bring the painting in and attach it to these poles and put it above my head at a table there. And then, of course, that would have been a great stunt. It would have been awesome. But rather than do that, I took the social media route, and I just made a comment. That's great artwork. It's mine. I love you using it. Please attribute that to me. And he immediately scrubbed this from the JW Marriott website and contacted me and said, hey, we've got a space here in front of this place. You can see this in on my video, the JW Marriott. I'll attach that in the description as well. You can hear the car sounds, which I kind of think is cool, but I hope it doesn't drown out. I know yesterday I had a problem with the sound, which is why I'm sitting closer. I'm not sitting closer. I've brought the phone microphone closer. I think I'm going to get an external attachable mic like those real YouTubers do. Anyway, get back to the story. And I did say that I would try to focus and make things a little bit shorter. You can hear the chicken in the background. They get up around 4 o'clock, and I want to get this going. So they told me they had a space. I went there, I looked at it. It was just a big piece of wall with these katana swords. And I thought the katana swords they just looked awkward there, and just kind of, I guess maybe I overused the word contrived, but I don't think it can be overused in this world where everyone's an executive and a CEO and an artist like myself and a writer and all of these things. You can just go online and declare yourself something or other. I read this thing the other day that said that employers, you may be surprised that your employee is a CEO. And then if you look them up on LinkedIn, and I'm not quite sure what the point was. Maybe they were saying the person was very or wanted to get out of the job, or maybe the person was a little bit more capable than their employer was giving them credit for. But anyway, there were these swords, and I thought they've got to go, got to go. And I had lived in Japan, in Sendai, Japan, and I had seen some pretty amazing work as far as the Japanese culture, and um, not I was not like I'm some sort of expert on these swords, but I just, as I was leaving, I was thinking, my goodness, how could I be so disrespectful? This, the amount of work it takes to make one of those swords. And I don't know about those particular swords that were in the window, but I just thought that's incredible. Who do you think you are? Artists, many artists are welders, and they do all kinds, but that's an art in itself. So I decided, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And the painting behind me represents a sword fight. It's the slashing and things like this. But it also has the initials of the restaurant, Akira, back. It was an A and a V. And people didn't see that. I was kind of clever about that. And also, one of the paintings, which you can see, as I said in the video, uh, is orange with the blue background. The orange slashes, and the other is the slashes are blue, and it has an orange background. And they just, I also, there was a divider, the window, part of the frame of the window, and I had made it so that when you sat in the bar across from the window, it appeared that was the interruption, was the frame of the window. But it was actually 4 pieces. It looked like it was 2. And that was something that I learned many years ago. A friend had these, he would make these displays with 3D objects, and then when you stood back, they would become 2-dimensional. Very incredible. I love it. And it's an art form that I really love, and I see it periodically on posts and things, and I just envy, because it's also a ton of work. But anyway, getting back to the point of why. What is my why? Well, the thing is, I never, it's not the fault of the Marriott folks. I had an opportunity to go in there and do the contract. They make individual contracts for their artists and different vendors and things. And I started out with this idea, I'm going to give them 3 options. They can buy the paintings outright, they can rent the paintings, or they can promote me. And of course, they took the promotion, because that way the guy could go and tell his boss, hey, I just got a whole bunch of stuff for free, right? And that shouldn't happen. The artist should be able to see, okay, here's my directory. Just pretend this book is a directory, which is now right side up. And they look through here, and here's Namibia. And this says the Hyatt, whatever of Namibia. They have rotating exhibitions. They're open to art sales. They help artists promote their sales and things. There's basically 5 criteria right now, and I don't want to change that. I know everybody's got feedback. The problem with asking for feedback is people think that they have to give you some feedback. Is rarely. I had some feedback 2 days ago where the person said it was great, and they asked me a couple of questions, not about, hey, are you going to modify this or that, but then said, well, where's the artwork? And I said, well, just go to an artist and hit a link. If there is no artwork, it's because that artist chose not to put a link to their website or to their Facebook or something. And that's okay. I'm not trying to become a data farm. I guess that's not the proper term, but what I mean is it's not about collecting data, that I'm going to sell to some company or something like that. It's about artists having this data and being able to find a place that would support them. And that those supported places can see artists in their area. So if they're trying to do what I'm trying to do, or we're trying to do at Studio 13 right now, we just have a rotation of artists. We can just find them. I've got my cat now wrestling with the cat, but yeah, we can just look at this directory and say, okay, here we've got this Tuan guy who's doing it now. Awesome. Here's Chang Tu, she's gonna go next. Here's Hu Chando, a Zaw paper artist, and me, and then someone else, and just have a rotation, a healthy, easy environment. Person comes in, hey, here's a standard contract for artists. Oh, wow, cool. So you guys are going to try to, yeah, here's these cards. I've made these cards. I'll show them tomorrow. And a hanger. I guess that would have been a good thing for me to do today. And just standardize some of this stuff. And a little bit like maybe a trip advisor, where you would come in and they would have these placemats and things. And you could see a thing on a sticker, a decal, whatever, and it said, this place is approved or whatever like this, or maybe, recommended. And yeah, and people could go to the website of the JW Marriott here, and maybe at that time they would have a really cool relationship with artists, and they could have them come in and change their work and things. And yeah, and that's what it is, a little bit more respect as well for artists. Anyway, as I said, I did 20 minutes yesterday. I really wanted to stick it to stick to less than 10, but that's my motive, is to put artists and art spaces together. And when I say art spaces, I'm not talking about exhibitions. I'm talking about cafes, like that. I saw this comedian, oh, you ever see that artwork in a cafe? Hey, I got an extra, that expensive artwork. And then he caps it. It's, yeah, like I've got an extra $400 in my pocket. And when I heard that, I just shrieked, because this piece behind me and some other pieces at the Marriott were more expensive than that. And yeah, we talk about a cafe or something like this. I mean, yeah, okay, $400. Are you kidding me? You look at, what is that? 20 visits at Starbucks, So no, it's not $20. Well, actually it is. I've gone there with a buddy of mine when I went home to Montana. And yeah, it was pretty hard to get out of there without spending $20. He buys me a coffee, I buy him a coffee. Hey, do you want a donut? Okay, I'll have a donut. Well, how about this? Oh yeah, I need a bottle of water. And you walk with $20, and you do that 20 days in a row, and that's $400. But anyway, that artwork in the cafe, that's part of somebody's life. And I've taken enough of your life, so I'll sign off. See if I